Viewers, 32 years after the horrifying Relieve, Salive and Chalive cries triggered the exodus of Hindus from their Janmabhoomi in Kashmir in 1989, a rerun is happening right now as we speak. A veritable second wave of anti-Hindu hate in the valley, specifically put in place by Islamist terror groups to derail the idea of one India. Targeted killings of non-Muslims have left them helplessly looking towards an ill-equipped ruling dispensation for answers. The failure to condemn on part of Kashmir civil society, of the human rights lobby, and the political class only emboldens Islamist hate. Viewers, the question is, are Hindu lives not worth speaking up for? Or is there tacit support for a Taliban-style Islamic caliphate or the Pak-sponsored Ghazwa-e-Hind? Can the majority Muslim community in Kashmir continue to address themselves as victims of alienation, to absolve themselves of their duty to protect the minority? After all, isn't this what they expect Hindus to do in other parts of India when there are crimes against Muslims? These are some basic questions that we want to ask today. And you see on your screens the visuals of, as I told you, a second exodus. You see how Hindus are being hunted down at point blank range. You see, viewers, how they are shot within their offices, within their homes by cowards. These visuals are testament to what is transpiring. So let's ask some basic questions, and I want to begin, converse with Zishan Rana, Sajjad Tariq, Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi also there with us, Javed Beigh and Ashoke Pandit. Let me first come out to Zishan Rana, spokesperson of the National Conference. Are Hindu lives not worth speaking up for, Mr. Zishan Rana? My first and open question to you.
See, Rahul, the other day also you asked me the same question and I'm giving you the same answer for this. That Hindus' lives are also important as Muslim lives are. In Kashmir, in the last 30 years, many people have laid down their lives. Muslims, Hindus, Sikhs. So it's not about Hindus and Muslims. The question is who has to be held accountable for it. And I think that Modi's tallest claim of eradicating terrorism from Kashmir has totally failed. Visionary leaders like Dr. Manmohan Singh, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, they started a dialogue process. They sent interlocutors to Kashmir. And somehow and somewhere I feel that created an atmosphere of normalcy in Kashmir, in the valley. So I feel that is completely missing, and Vajpayee policy of Kashmir, even after 2 decades, we are still remembering his policy. And his slogan of Kashmiriyat, Jumhuriyat and Insaniyat created a window for peace. So the time has come that Government of India should relook at its policy for Kashmir and the framework which they have made. Because the path which they have chosen is not taking Government of India on the right direction.
First of all, you're historically wrong, Zishan Rana. There was no abatement of terror attacks even when Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the Prime Minister. Some of the most dastardly targeted killings took place at that time. And yes, it created a window of opportunity for people like you, imposters like you, to come to power. Yes, that is not happening today, you see. So you are trying to... Let me finish.
Let me tell you one thing.
Let me finish.
When people are not safe in government offices...
I'm not yelling at you. I'm only making a point.
Let me, please give me a second. Give me a second, please. Give me a second, please. When people are not safe in government offices, it shows that the government has totally failed. It shows the glaring example of government's failure to provide them security.
Zishan
Who has to
Rana.
hold accountable for it?
Zishan
Even
Rana.
Yesterday,
When you
a
can't
senior
trust
BJP
your
member
own
has said
neighbor,
that Home Minister
Zishan
of India has
Rana,
totally
1
failed. He
minute
should
please.
resign.
1 minute please. 1 minute. 1 minute. Think about this. When the killer could be your neighbor because he has been brainwashed by apologists like you to believe that the Indian state is a bad one, then there's a problem. And that is what is being said increasingly. When your political party calls those who pick up...
Rahul,
let me finish, sir. Let me finish.
I think...
Let me finish.
Let
me finish.
The government of India...
Zishan Rana, I'm going to interrupt you if you're not going to allow me to finish.
Kashmiris as their own people.
Let me finish, Zishan Rana. This is not polite of you. Please, I have not spoken over you. But you have to allow me to make a point. Otherwise, there's no debate. Then you can hold the floor and speak for 50 minutes. I have no problems. थोड़ा तो सबर कीजिए साहब. देखिए, the problem is today, and this is what many people are saying, they can't even trust their neighbor. A large number of these people are being killed, and this is what the police reports are saying, because insider information is being provided to terrorists. Now, you can contest this point with the police, but that is what is being said on record. All I am saying, sir, is that when a lynching happens in the other parts of India, it's people like you, your political party, your bosses, who tweet to say that Hindus must condemn this, that we must condemn Hindutva terror. But I don't hear the same condemnation of Islamist terror coming from you. Hence my question. Do Hindu lives not matter? Do minority lives not matter? You are the Bade Bhaijan. You are in majority. Muslims are in majority in Kashmir. If Sikhs are being driven out, if Hindus are being selectively targeted, it's another form of lynching. Should you not be out there in the streets?
Muslims are equally targeted.
That is because
targeted
people like
Kashmir.
you, and you are to blame.
How many of them have lost their lives?
Yes, Zishan Rana, you are to blame for that. You are to blame for that.
Here is that government of India should relook at its policy.
Zishan Rana.
The government of India should relook at its policy.
Zishan Rana.
Because
Zishan Rana, you are to blame for also the Muslim deaths. Amreen was killed. Why? Because you support, by calling people like, and this is true, the Yasin Maliks and its entire trajectory and ilk, sons of the soil, who are fighting for a great cause. No, sir, they are fighting to impose an intolerant view. They are attacking the idea of a secular India, but you cannot call it out because you are cringing in your homes, scared. That's the problem.
First and foremost, I think the government of India should consider Kashmir as a political problem. Until and unless they will not consider Kashmir as a political problem.
Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, fair enough.
Things will not get normal.
It's a political problem. Jihad is not a political problem, sir. It's a mindset
Rahul,
issue.
I would like to begin
अगर मैं आपसे एक simple सवाल पूछ लेता हूँ
when you say
कि
that
आप बोल दो कि बुरहान वानी
Pakistan is creating
आप कह दीजिए
when you say that Pakistan is creating trouble in it means
it's an ideological problem.
That two countries are involved, and when two countries are involved, it is a political issue.
That's why we have dealt the thing with a proper political manner, sir. We have done away with that unconstitutional, transient, temporary provision
what you did in August 2019
and the 35A, which was never brought on the floor of the House.
बोलने दीजिए, डॉक्टर त्रिवेदी को भी बोलने दीजिए, एक मिनट, 1 minute, 1 minute.
Been brought in the annexure
डॉक्टर त्रिवेदी को भी बोलने दीजिए, नहीं तो ये डिबेट नहीं होगी.
Proclamation. So we have dealt with constitutionally. Now, of course, it is a political problem because I agree, because it is the only case in the entire world in which on the issue of terrorism, the political parties are divided. Nowhere in the world you will see, whether it is America, England, France, Britain, Germany, China, or even Sri Lanka, Myanmar, there is no if and but among the two opposition parties. But here it is the political problem because they consider that whenever the issue will come, there some people will rise Delhi, and even they can go to the Supreme Court for their defense. Even if the Supreme Court has convicted them, like Afzal Guru, they will say he was a halat ka mara, and even go to the extent of saying Yaqub Minan was a judicial killing. And not only this, even if the issue was raised in a movie, then they will say it is wrong, aisa to kuch hua hi nahi tha. सही कहा आपने, बिल्कुल पॉलिटिकल प्रॉब्लम है और पॉलिटिकल प्रॉब्लम की वजह से उनके हौसले इतने बड़े हुए हैं कि हमारे लिए पूरा इकोसिस्टम खड़ा रहेगा जब जरूरत होगी तो. एज फार एज द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया इज कंसर्न, गवर्नमेंट इन इंडिया इज विद फुल सेंसिटिविटी एंड एफिकेसी इज डूइंग द वर्क. Yesterday, Home Minister have taken a meeting and they have advanced the deployment of the paramilitary forces. And one thing I would like to say, whenever the lynching happened, even on the pretext of doubt, then you say, never said you had a law and order problem. Then you say those who are doing the lynching are basically culprit. Here the innocent civilians are being targeted and nobody is saying any word against the fundamental Islamic terrorists. Rather than they are more targeting towards the government, why they are not able to protect here and there. The reason is because of wo daur before our government came in 2014, sir, apart from Kashmir, कौन सा ऐसा इलाका था जहां पर टेररिस्ट एक्टिविटी नहीं हो रही थी? फ्रॉम गुवाहाटी टू हैदराबाद टू बेंगलुरु टू चेन्नई टू मुंबई टू दिल्ली टू जयपुर टू लखनऊ टू वाराणसी टू नागपुर. नाउ एवरीथिंग हैज बीन कन्फाइंड टू 3 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स ऑफ कश्मीर. और वहां पर भी अब आपके लिए मुश्किल हो गया, चाहे आरडीएक्स लाना हो या वो करना हो तो सिलेक्टिव टारगेटिंग किलिंग हो रही. बट बी रेस्ट एश्योर्ड दैट द गवर्नमेंट इज डीलिंग विद अ फर्म हैंड एंड वी विल डू द थिंग अकॉर्डिंगली. एंड फाइनली आई वुड लाइक टू से, ही हैड सेड, भाई वाजपेयी जी की गवर्नमेंट को आप कह रहे हैं बड़े लिबरल थे. चेट्टी सिंहपुरा नरसिंहार उस समय हुआ ना, द मैसेकर ऑफ द चेट्टी सिंहपुरा हैपेंड एट द टाइम.
यस.
And you are saying, yes, of course, Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi has said that we believe in Jamhuriyat, Islamiyat, Jamhuriyat, Kashmiriyat and Insaniyat. But जो security forces के मारे के बाद जश्न मनाए, it is not Insaniyat.
What have you done in the last
When you say लेकर रहेंगे आजादी, बंदूक के दम पे आजादी, it is not Jamhuriyat.
in the last 8 years?
And if you talk about Kashmiriyat, you should also respect Amarnath Yatra. It's also part of the Kashmir. When you attack Amarnath Yatra, it's not Kashmiriyat. So those who truly believe in Kashmiriyat, Insaniyat and Jamhuriyat, we are with them. And forget about Hindu Muslim. इंस्पेक्टर अयूब पंडित को मॉब लिंचिंग में मार दिया गया था. कितने लोग गए थे सेकुलरिज्म के शूरमा? लेफ्टिनेंट फैयाज के घर पे कितने गए? भारतीय सेना का जवान औरंगजेब मारे गए, उनके साथ किसने गए? ना. You have nothing to do with Hindu Muslim. Even if the patriot Muslim is there, you are not ready to stand with them. But I have heard so many news about Burhan Wani, Afzal Guru and Yaqub Menon, but nobody spoken about Aurangzeb, Lieutenant Fayyaz and Ayub Pandit. This is the basic problem and this is the political problem.
Yes. Mr. Rana. Mr. Rana, let me also point out some facts to you.
Yes, yes.
Let me point out some facts, if you allow me. 1998 वधामा में एक मैसेकर हुआ था. 23 Hindus were killed by terrorists. 23 Hindus were killed by terrorists. That day, Kashmiriyat died. And that happened when there was a national conference-led government in Jammu and Kashmir. A PDP Congress government was in power in Jammu and Kashmir. अरे मेरी बात तो सुनिए आप. अरे मेरी बात तो सुनिए आप बात भी नहीं सुनेंगे, फैक्ट्स भी नहीं सुनेंगे, अपनी लट लगाएंगे तो ये ठीक नहीं रहेगा ना. This is not right. A PDP Congress government. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to put out the facts. These people are liars, viewers. They have made a living out of lying to the people of Kashmir. That's why today no one is standing outside their homes saying, we support you. Abdullahs, we support you, Muftis. No one cares. And they are running with security because they fear their own people. That is the scenario in Kashmir today. And they are giving us lectures.
We have condemned in the strongest
Let me tell you,
terms.
PDP Congress government was in power in Jammu and Kashmir terms. When the Nadir massacre happened. 24 Hindus were murdered. There was a BJP government at the center. Sir, it was the Vajpayee government at the center. There was no peace. The man made an offering to you, Vajpayee. You refuted it. And you still go out and say, nahi, nahi. You see, Burhan Wani, he was forced to pick up the gun. Principal का बेटा था वो, हेडमास्टर का बेटा था. जब बुरहान वानी सर बंदूक उठाता है, so terrorists have no religion. When someone kills Kalburgi, then terrorists have a religion. When they attack Akhlaq, then they have a religion. What kind of double standards are these? I want to bring in, Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi has with a lot of sarcasm demolished Zishan, Rana today. But I want to bring in Ashoke Pandit, someone who knows who knows the suffering firsthand. Sir, this relieve, salieve या galieve, ये कोई political slogan था, जरा मुझे आप बताएं. Was this a political slogan, sir? And what does it mean for those who don't understand Kashmiri?
Rahul, at the outset, I want to thank you from the core of my heart on behalf of Kashmiri Pandits that you are our voice and you have raised our voice, our sufferings.
Sir, I have suffered.
To you and your team, entire channel.
I have suffered with
Rahul,
you people. I have suffered with you people. I have also lost my home. You know this.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah. Rahul, you see, 2-3 things are very important, and I want to say it very candid. That Kashmiriyat, that term is a farce, and it insults us because Kashmiriyat never existed in Kashmir. It was just a farce created by the politics of this country to hide their shortcomings. If Kashmiriyat would have been there, then 3.5 lakh to 4 lakh Kashmiri Pandits would have not, must have not suffered the genocide and the exodus from Kashmir. We were always treated as second-grade citizens in Kashmir, and that's true. We were never given opportunities in Kashmir. Whether it's my father or my grandfathers or everybody, we had to fight for our rights or for our living, and that's the truth. We have heard from our fathers. My fathers have heard from their fathers. For generations, we have suffered in Kashmir. Now coming to 1990s, when the entire Gupkar gang was part of the ruling, somewhere or the other, whether it was Congress, whether it was National Conference or PDP, and then came the Hurriyat, they planned our exodus and genocide in a proper way in 1990. And I was a witness to the entire thing. Farooq Abdullah was the founder, chairman of JKLF. He's a person who created Yasin Malik, Shabir Shahs to fight India, to as a front face to fight India and to create terrorism. They became very big. Yasin Malik became very big. Shabir Shah became very big. And they started getting out of the hands of these politicians like Mufti Muhammad Sayyid and Farooq Abdullah and all. They started ruling Kashmir. And terrorism grew. 19th January 1990, the mosques of all the valley, the entire valley, raised the slogan, Relieve, Salive, the Galive. Relieve means if you are not with us, then you are killed. And if you don't want to be with us, please get lost from this place. And this entire night, these slogans were shouted. And other slogans were, Hum kya chahte hain azadi, azadi ka matlab kya, la ilaha illallah. So somebody is saying that Kashmir is a political problem. It's a farce, it's a lie. Kashmir is a religious problem. We were hounded out because we were Hindus. We were raped because we were Hindus. We were killed because we were Hindus. And today also in 2022, if we are killed because we are Hindus, they don't want the presence of India through Hindus in Kashmir. They want to Islamize the entire valley, and that's what they have been doing, and they have been successfully doing. Coming to the present situation, Rahul's situation is the same. And all these leftists, all these urban naxals, all the entire Tukre gang, Lutyens media, big media houses, they had invited Yasin Malik to their conclaves. So the entire narrative which was set by these gang of urban naxals and Tukre gang, the white-collar terrorists, created an atmosphere for them. They started facing this problem now from 2014, and they don't know what to do about it. So present situation in Kashmir is the same which was in 1990. This present government became a little bit overconfident. They started thinking and dreaming a lot of things which were not on ground. And we kept on telling them the things are not what you have been informed by your ground level workers and your ground level leaders. And this is a result of that because they didn't listen to Kashmiri Pandits. They didn't listen to the actual Jammu Hindu community. They created their own illusions. I'm talking of the present regime. And this is what has come out, that you have lost control in Kashmir.
I'll come to that.
Today also Hindus have been killed. They are killed because they are Hindus.
I'll come to that.
And situation is coming out of it.
I'll come to that. We'll talk about that in just a few moments. But I want to bring in Sajjad Tariq. And of course, Zishan Rana, we've heard, and Dr. Trivedi is listening. And we also have Javed Beigh with us. Now, I want to bring in Sajjad Tariq simply because you just heard Ashoke Pandit talking about the Lutyens media, a certain set of activists, etc., who invited people like Yasin Malik to their conclaves. But sir, Dr. Manmohan Singh invited Yasin Malik for talks 17 September 2006 when he was Prime Minister. आपने तो सर एकदम कमाल ही कर दिया. Yasin Malik, the JKLF chief responsible for targeted killings, the same type of killings that we are seeing today, exodus of Kashmiri Hindus in the 80s and 90s. The same Yasin Malik who has been convicted today under a new regime, under the BJP that rules from both the center and at the state level, through a case that was registered under the BJP regime. The Congress, sir, would you not agree, was only playing the politics of convenience and appeasement? When you support the likes of National Conference and the Abdullahs, which you do, I want you to focus on what former Kashmiri bureaucrat Farooq Renzu Shah said during a live interaction on ANN News. He accused the National Conference of facilitating genocide. आप भी जरा सुन लीजिए, Zishan bhai. He said terrorists were brought to Kashmir through a political corridor. Gaukadal massacre was to instigate majority community against minority. So, Mr. Sajjad Tariq of the Congress Party, you have blood on your hands. And, sir, you have been supporting a Taliban-style Islamic caliphate or the Pak-sponsored Ghazwa-e-Hind, whichever one. As Ashoke Pandit is saying. Ashoke Pandit is saying exactly this. Please respond.
Rahul, can I respond?
Yes, sir.
The first point you said that Yasin Malik, like Congress, the Prime Minister Shri Manmohan Singh met him. I'll tell you one more fact. Manmohan Singh ji to mile the, but Atal Bihari Vajpayee has met him, and in 1998, it was Atal Bihari Vajpayee who gave him the passport. It was never given before. And the second point is this: Sajjad Lone, who was renowned separatist leader. He was there with BJP. Coalition Sarkar mein the wo, Sajjad Lone. And there is one more, Mr. Farooq, who has contested as councillor from the BJP mandate from the Srinagar city. Now, and मैं आपको एक और बात बताता चलूं, the investigations of NIA was framed by Congress. It was not framed by BJP, let me tell you. At that time only. Now the point comes, if somebody gets into coalition with BJP, he becomes a nationalist. And if somebody is not in coalition with BJP, he becomes a separatist. Now what is the stand of the BJP? Sajjad Lone has been there. He was there in coalition. What about that a surrender man who is there and who has been given a councillor ticket in Kashmir? You will not talk of that. Now, second point I'd like to add on. मेरी बात सुनते जाइएगा जरा ध्यान से. This is what we have been saying since abrogation of 370. आप किसी पेशेंट को डॉक्टर का कोट पहना के उसकी कैंसर की बीमारी ठीक नहीं कर पाएंगे. This is what center has done with the people of J&K. आपने 370 हटाया, यूटी लगा बना दिया. उससे क्या होगा? Just by changing the nomenclature आप उसको कोट पहना दीजिए कैंसर पेशेंट को, उससे क्या हो जाए? Now the BJP has stalled claims for the नया कश्मीर. 1990s में जो कश्मीरी पंडित्स का पलायन हुआ, at that time BJP was in power. Now after 30 years or 35 years now, again we are here in a situation where there are, मैं मानता हूं बिल्कुल, there are targeted killings also. अमरीना की भी किलिंग हुई, रियाज भट्ट की भी हुई, राहुल भट्ट की भी हुई, एंड मैं मुदस्सिर अहमद को भी सलाम पेश करना चाहूंगा, जिस पुलिस के कॉप ने अपनी जिंदगी की कुर्बानी दी अभी 2 दिन पहले, और उससे पहले उसने अपना वीडियो भी फ्लोट किया कि हर कर्म अपना करेंगे या वतन तेरे लिए. I salute that man, but the point is this: who is going to take the onus of it? 90s में बीजेपी की सरकार थी, आज बीजेपी की सरकार, आज कश्मीरी पंडित्स का पलायन हो रहा है. Yesterday you have seen that video जिसमें ऑल कश्मीरी पंडित्स आर रेडी टू मूव फ्रॉम कश्मीर, और उनको फोर्सेस गाड़ियां आगे बैरिकेडिंग लगा के रोक रही हैं कि यू आर नॉट अलाउड टू गो टू जम्मू और यू आर नॉट अलाउड टू गो टू द रेस्ट ऑफ द प्लेस ऑफ इंडिया. व्हाई? क्योंकि वहां पे और किलिंग्स हो इसलिए, या हम सुपरफिशियल एक तरीके से एक टच देना चाहते हैं लोगों को. दिस इज माय राहुल जी, मैं आपको एक और बात कहना चाहता हूं. आप भी इसके विक्टिम रहे हैं यार, आप मेरे भाई हो. आप भी इसके विक्टिम रहे हो
सर
कितने लोगों का। और जो
आप देखिए,
सुनिए मेरी बात,
आप मेरे भाई
आज
जरूर हैं,
आपको ये
मेरे
आवाज
भाई आप हैं, मैं आपका भाई। नहीं नहीं नहीं, एक मिनट रुक जाइए तारिक साहब, मेरी बात सुनिए एक मिनट। ये इस पॉइंट पे मेरी बात, मैं आपकी सारी बात कबूल कर रहा हूं, मगर एक बात मेरी बात सुन लीजिए प्लीज। द लास्ट पॉइंट दैट यू मेड, दैट हर्ट मी सर, दैट हर्ट मी, दैट लास्ट पॉइंट हर्ट मी। यू आर पेइंग लिप सर्विस सर टू योर भाईज टुडे, यू आर पेइंग लिप सर्विस टू योर भाईज। आई वांट टू आस्क यू, नो आई वांट टू आस्क यू ऑन द लास्ट पॉइंट, आई एग्री विथ यू। मेरी बात सुनिए। नो नो नो, आई एम अ वेरी फेयर पर्सन। सज्जाद साहब, आई एम अ वेरी फेयर पर्सन। मेरी एक बात सुन लीजिए प्लीज। और ये फ्रॉम वन कश्मीरी टू अनदर कश्मीरी, मेरी बात सुन लीजिए प्लीज प्लीज
जी
प्लीज।
बोलिए।
Agreed, sir. The history is a complicated history. No one is an innocent party.
But you are not going to ask BJP people
I asked,
why?
sir. I have asked and I will ask. I told you. अशोक पंडित जी को मैंने बोला था। सज्जाद साहब मेरी बात नहीं सुन रहे। मैंने बोला था कि मैं उस पॉइंट पे आऊंगा। मैंने बोला था कि मैं उस पॉइंट पे आऊंगा और मैंने अश्योर किया हुआ है अशोक पंडित जी को। अगर आप मुझे बोलने नहीं देंगे समय निकल जाएगा एंड वी वोंट बी एबल टू आस्क दैट क्वेश्चन। बट एक पॉइंट है, फ्रॉम अ यंगर ब्रदर टू एन ओल्डर ब्रदर, sir, I want to say, why isn't Sajjad Tariq today, along with my other elder brothers of Kashmir and my elder sisters of Kashmir, standing in Lal Chowk by the crores, by the lakhs, holding a million-man march, condemning the Burhanwanis, condemning the mindset that is sponsoring Ghazwa-e-Hind, condemning the mindset, sir, that calls for targeted killings. जब तक आप वो नहीं करेंगे ना, तो मैं अपने बड़े भाई को ट्रस्ट नहीं कर पाऊंगा। ना आपका लीडर जो कश्मीरी बोल भी नहीं पाते हैं। देखिए सर, ना आपके लीडर जो कश्मीरी बोल पाते हैं, ना आपके लीडर यहाँ टाइम्स नाउ में आके, सर मेरी बात सुनिए प्लीज। यू नो, आपके लीडर्स अपने आप को कश्मीरी हिंदू बुलाते हैं। बुलाया ना उन्होंने, राहुल गांधी साहब ने अपने आप को। वो कहां है सर? वो आज चाहे अमरीन हो, चाहे हमारे दूसरे भैया हो, उनके घर नहीं जाते हैं। हाथरस जरूर जाएंगे, हब्बा कदल नहीं जाएंगे। क्यों सर? मैं आपसे ये पूछ रहा हूं।
नो,
क्यों, कहां है? किधर है सर? नहीं, मैं आपके जो चौधरी साहब हैं, राहुल गांधी चौधरी साहब, उनकी बात कर रहा हूं। आप बीजेपी को जरूर भरपूर गाली दीजिए, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं। दिस इज अ डेमोक्रेसी। आप उनसे सवाल पूछिए कि भाई वो कहां है। मैंने सवाल पूछ, मैंने ट्वीट में सवाल पूछे, मैंने कल भी सवाल पूछे। मेरे सवाल बंद नहीं होंगे, मगर मेरे सवाल सिलेक्टिव नहीं है सर। मेरे सवाल सबको पढ़ते हैं और सबको इरिटेट करते हैं। मैंने एलजी साहब से पूछा कि इस्तीफा क्यों नहीं दिया। मैंने बीजेपी से पूछा आपकी पॉलिसी कहां है। मैंने आपके लीडर से पूछा राहुल गांधी वो कहां है। जवाब नहीं आता सर, मुझे बात ही नहीं करते हमसे। क्यों डरते हैं? क्या होगा? चलिए, एनीहाउ ये लास्ट बात पे मेरे को चुभा सर, लास्ट बात पे मुझे चुभा। एक मिनट रुकिए। आई वांट टू ब्रिंग इन डॉक्टर त्रिवेदी साहब एंड आई ऑल्सो वांट टू ब्रिंग इन जावेद बेग साहब। त्रिवेदी साहब, देयर आर टू एस्पेक्ट्स टू दिस। देयर इज द एस्पेक्ट ऑफ ओमिशंस एंड देन देयर इज द एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ ओमिशंस अंडर योर राज ऑल्सो। जैसे सज्जाद लोन, पीडीपी की मैं बात करता हूं। 2018 में ये महबूबा मुफ्ती ने क्या कहा? शी वॉज रिपोर्टेड टू विजिट फैमिलीज ऑफ मिलिटेंट्स इन साउथ कश्मीर। दिस वॉज द लेडी सर दैट यू लेजिटिमाइज्ड एंड हर पॉलिटिक्स। व्हेन शी वॉज योर अलायंस पार्टनर सर, वन ऑफ द फर्स्ट स्टेटमेंट्स दैट हर फादर मेड, हु वाज देन द चीफ मिनिस्टर, वॉज मैं सारे पेल्टर्स को छोड़ने वाला हूं जेल से। ये भी हुआ सर। आर्टिकल 370 का जो मुद्दा जो प्रधानमंत्री जी ने प्रॉमिस किया था, that was put aside, that was never brought out. Only after the coalition collapsed did we see. Yes, we all
you
celebrate.
Have raised a very appropriate question.
Yes, sir. Please.
In this context, I would like to add.
Yes.
When we were having coalition government with PDP, still we never talked to Hurriyat leaders and we never allowed them to talk to Pakistan. ड्यूरिंग दैट गवर्नमेंट हुर्रियत लीडर्स पे ईडी के केसेस दर्ज हुए. ड्यूरिंग दैट हुर्रियत गवर्नमेंट ऑपरेशन ऑल आउट वाज कंडक्टेड. During that Hurriyat leader, our government with PDP, it was NIA cases started against
Let him finish, you can respond.
And नहीं मैं उसी पे आ रहा हूँ.
Yes.
Now I'm coming to sir. Let me complete my submission. And despite the fact we say that that was our fault, and Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi 2019 in his interview had said, हाँ हम मानते हैं कि वो हमारी महामिलावट थी, हमने कोशिश की थी पर वो सफल नहीं हुई. जनाब वो कहानी तो पुरानी हो गई. आज की डेट में जवाब दीजिए. And PDP and National Conference are the regional parties. I want to ask the statement of the Congress party, which is the national party. Saifuddin Soz, Jammu Kashmir Congress president, has written in his book that Kashmir should be separated from India. Ghulam Nabi Azad Saab, as Chief Minister of the Congress Party of the Jammu Kashmir, has rushed to Delhi for the clemency of Afzal Guru. कि आग लग जाएगी. And as a leader of the opposition, he said on the floor of the House, Indian Army Kashmir में civilians को ज़्यादा मारती है. This was the word. Not that they have been killed in the crossfire. Indian Army ज़्यादा मारती है. This type of words by the Kashmiris and those who talk about the Kashmiriyat, I would like to ask that there uses to be one flag of Kashmir, which ceases to be there in existence from August 2019. But in how many agitations in the Kashmir we have seen that Kashmiri flag? The flag of ISIS, the flag of Pakistan, and talk about Kashmir. And when Zakir Musa has categorically said, ये कोई कश्मीरियत की लड़ाई नहीं है, ये इस्लामी खलीफत की लड़ाई है, I want an answer. How many champions of secularism have condemned that? None of them has come out openly that this rubbish has been talked by
Dr.
Zakir
Trivedi,
Musa.
that is fine.
Kept mum.
That is fine. But I want to ask you, and that is an established fact. I am not going to contend. See,
नहीं है.
One second. Neither with Sajjad Tariq Saab, neither with Dr. Trivedi will I.
भाईचारा and Kashmiriyat and etc.
Okay, but that is fine. That is an accepted point. But one minute. Dr. Trivedi, I want to ask you. Dr. Trivedi, I want to ask you. आज वर्तमान स्थिति की बात करते हैं. 2 minutes. Let's talk about what Ashoke Pandit talked about, sir. And Dr. Trivedi, I want to ask you. Lives are being lost with a monotonous regularity. Monotonous regularity, sir. If Hindu lives matter, why is there no accountability? Yes, you are going out taking revenge from terrorists, etc. उनको तो मार रहे हैं आप, ठीक है. India salutes you for doing that. But I'm asking this question.
Also.
1 minute. Yes. Exactly, sir. No one is discriminating. All lives are important, please. But Dr. Trivedi, there is no accountability. Until there is no accountability, there will be no one feeling the cost of messing up regularly. This is my problem. Where is the accountability? If there is responsibility, there has to be accountability. Trivedi, sir.
Definitely there has to be accountability. That's why you have seen that so many terrorists have been neutralized. Though they have now come to the lowest level of fight in which they are targeting the innocent civilians, because they are now unable to target the military installation, the security installation and the security forces as they were doing at their will at the time of the UPA government. So this shows that the fight has come to their last phase. Definitely the government is pained and sensitive about the killing of the Kashmiri Hindus, and we are taking appropriate actions. Sir, as I have mentioned, the Home Minister Shri Amit Shah,
Mr. Amit Shah, since you have mentioned Mr. Amit Shah, he promised that in 2002, you have mentioned Mr. Amit Shah, so I am now reminding you of what he said. He had sworn to say that by 2022, Kashmiri Hindus will be repatriated back to the valley. यहाँ तो sir, बोरी बिस्तरा बांध के बेचारे कश्मीरी हिंदूज आर बोर्डिंग द फर्स्ट अवेलेबल ट्रांसपोर्ट टू लीव द वैली. ये कैसा हो रहा है और इसका कौन अकाउंट है सर? हु इज गोइंग टू बी अकाउंटेबल फॉर दिस?
They could bring a single Kashmiri Pandit.
अरे बोलने तो दीजिए सर, जवाब तो देने दीजिए.
Happening is a pain. And let me complete. मैं बता रहा हूं सर, इस बीच में डेफिनेटली 2 साल हमारे कोविड के प्रोसेस में भी चले गए. अदरवाइज द प्रोसेस ऑफ एस्टैब्लिशिंग देयर कॉलोनीज इन द सेपरेट प्लेसेस वुड हैव बीन एडवांस. एक प्रॉब्लम ये भी रही थी कि 2019 से पहले बाद में ये लोग हमेशा ये डिमांड करते रहे कि कश्मीरी हिंदूज शुड रिटर्न टू देयर ओरिजिनल प्लेसेस. Even some of the original places have been burned, and it was how much insecure it was when you are living among so many people in which you don't trust. And we were focusing that there should be separate colonies and separate localities to be built. But because of this around almost extended 2 years period of COVID,
well, time
that
is running
process of
out
construction
now.
could not take in place. But government is committed that they will try to bring up not only the normalcy, but bring back the Kashmiri Pandit with their full dignity and honor.
Saab, I want you to respond to both Mr. Rana and Mr. Tariq. बहुत बोले वो, अब आप मुझे बताइए.
Rahul bhai, thank you so much for giving me time. Well, I'm not shocked or surprised by these two national political parties or by this regional political party, because one national political party is helpless at this point of time. Another is not even seen. That Congress has become a WhatsApp now. Let's change the name of Congress to a WhatsApp group. And the regional party, National Conference, which is mother of all evils in this part of our country.
Nobody's going to take this nonsense.
This party is responsible for every mess created here. This party, this most discredited party, most hated party by Kashmiris of today, most hated party by my generation, both National Conference and Indian National Congress, who actually created this mess. As one of my friends rightly said, the president of National Conference is also a terrorist. Why are you letting him go? Why is not BJP taking any stand against the president of National Conference, who should also have been languishing in jail now? He is the person, because I am suffering. My people, my Kashmiri Pandits are suffering because of National Conference and Congress. And BJP is now helpless. This is failure of BJP and failure of Kashmiri society, failure of Kashmiri majority. I take this responsibility. We are failing. We are failing as humans. We are failing as a society. We are failing as a social institution, because Kashmiri Pandits have again started leaving. This is the 8th exodus, forced exodus. And I as a member of Kashmiri civil society will do everything to stop this. I will now go on a strike in the heart of Srinagar. I cannot do anything because I don't have power. I am an ordinary Kashmiri civilian. I am the Awam of Kashmir. This is the feeling of every Kashmiri who is powerless. But these political parties should be held accountable. They cannot go away like this. National Conference is now issuing statements which is actually radicalizing Kashmiri youth. PDP has all of a sudden become a party belonging to Taliban. You look at their statements. They are now trying to misguide Kashmiris, especially youth of Kashmir, the way they did during 90s or 80s. So let us stop them. I urge my fellow countrymen, I urge my people of India to help Kashmiris, help Kashmir, stop this exodus and book these people who are issuing threatening statements. As my friend from National Conference, he is talking about killings. You people are responsible for these killings. You people actually created this terrorism. You are equally responsible. There is no difference between you and Taliban. You are trying to create fear psychosis.
This is a
because
valley
you
voice.
hate Hindus. You hate
बेनकाब कर दिया आप लोगों को.
other sects within Islam also. You had Sufis. You had every Kashmiri who believes in the idea of India. You had every Kashmiri who is moderate. You people are responsible. You created hell out of beautiful Kashmir, and you people are corrupt. आप इनके नाजायज जायदाद को देखिए. इन लोगों ने अपनी अय्याशी के लिए हमारे कश्मीर को जहन्नम बना दिया. ये लोग यहाँ, इन्हें कोई माफ नहीं करेगा. जिस तरीके से लोग मारे जा रहे हैं मेरे, एक दिन ऐसा भी आएगा, आप यकीन रखें, जिस तरह अफगानिस्तान में हो रहा है। आज वहां पे लोग मस्जिदों में जाने से डर रहे हैं, आस्थानों पे जाने से डर रहे, स्कूल कॉलेजेस में जाने से डर रहे। ये लोग भी यहां नहीं रह पाएंगे, आप यकीन मानिए। जिस दिन ये कश्मीर नॉन मुस्लिमों से खाली हो जाएगा, उस दिन ये लोग भी नहीं बचेंगे। यकीन माने, इन्हें जूते मारेंगे कश्मीरी लोग। जिस तरीके से इन्होंने कश्मीरियों का गलत तरीके से इस्तेमाल किया, कश्मीर में इन्होंने मजहब का गलत तरीके से इस्तेमाल किया, डेमोक्रेसी पे डाका डाला। 87 का जो रिगिंग हुई वो नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस ने की। ये लोग चोर है, ये
ominous warnings
है। इन लोगों ने हमें यहाँ पे
ominous warnings from Javed Beigh. He is making a lot of accusations. I want Zishan Rana to respond to him, Sajjad Tariq to respond to him. Mr. Rana, respond to Javed Beigh. He has made a large number of accusations. He says he has the facts to suggest that you have become the abettors, you have become the enablers of terror. Please respond, Mr. Rana, first.
See, Rahul, when 1990 happened, National Conference was not in the government. From 1996 to 2002, National Conference workers, around 3,000 workers, ministers, MLAs lost their lives. From 2009 to 2015, when National Conference was in power, we tried our best to bring back Kashmiri Pandits back to Delhi. Now let me complete. Now let me complete.
1 minute, silence. 1 minute.
Otherwise I will not.
1 minute, please. Javed Beigh Saab, 1 minute.
I will not speak.
Javed Saab, 1 minute.
Give me 200.
Javed Saab, 1 minute. Javed Saab, 1 minute, please. Javed Saab, 1 minute. 1 minute. Let Mr. Rana speak. जावेद भाई 1 मिनट. जावेद भाई देखिए 1 मिनट. आपने कुछ बोला है, उनको बोलने दीजिए. देखिए, I just want to point out a fact. You know, viewers, Times Now had accessed an NHRC report 2002, between 2000 and 2002. And you know what the NHRC said, viewers? That the state government appointed panel to look into the exodus of Kashmiri Hindus. And which was that state government? National Conference government. Its response to look into the exodus was deeply frustrating.
Was not in the government when,
let me finish.
Exodus happened.
Deeply frustrated.
It was not.
Sir, you set up a committee. NHRC says.
January 1990, National Conference was not in the government.
Sir, please listen to me. I am begging you, sir. I am begging you. I am begging you, sir. I am begging you. I am begging you, sir. I am not saying you were in power. 1 minute. You were very, no. These killings began much before, sir, the date you are talking about. These killings had happened. These killings happened, sir, from the late 80s. They just didn't happen one day. Don't lie. Don't lie. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute.
Ensure that everybody,
Rana
life is safe in
साहब, आप
Kashmir
मेरे को आप अटैक कर रहे हैं. मेरी बात सुनिए. I am talking about an NHRC.
Hindu massacre happened in 97 in my village.
Yes, 97.
The first Kashmiri Hindu massacre happened in 97. 21st March 97. That time Farooq Abdullah was here.
Lower everyone's faders. I want to speak here. Viewers, NHRC is referring to a period when the National Conference came back to power. They came back to power and they appointed a panel. Why did they appoint this panel? Because they wanted to examine all the attacks that took place on Kashmiri Hindus. This panel was set up. The NHRC now says about this panel that was set up in 2002, viewers. And what does it say? It says that the panel's response was deeply frustrating and it urged it to react with greater promptness and sensitivity. Doesn't that expose the National Conference government? This, viewers, was a panel that they themselves set up and they themselves ignored the National Conference in 2002. Why did they do it, viewers? I want that answer from Mr. Rana. Boliye Rana Saab.
BJP in power from last 8 years. Why don't you expose them?
Right. ठीक है सर.
आप सेटअप किए पैनल. People of Jammu and Kashmir before abrogating Article 370.
आपने ही पैनल को
downgraded state to union territory.
You set up a panel. You downgraded the importance of that panel. That panel was set up by Farooq Abdullah Saab in 2002, 2000 to 2002, viewers.
Which panel you are talking about?
अब आए ना आप सवाल. अब आप मेरी बात अब आप प्लीज मेरे कान सुन रहे. The Special Rapporteur Commission was requested to serve as a member of that committee. I'm telling you about this. The Commission continued to hold hearings in respect of the problem being faced by members of the Kashmiri Pandit Committee, of whom 3 lakhs have had to leave the valley since the insurgency began, together with over 1,000 Muslim families and number of Sikh families. In order to assist them in dealing with their problems, the Commission had encouraged the government of Jammu and Kashmir to constitute a committee at the state level to examine their difficulties expeditiously and resolve them. The special rapporteur of the Commission was requested to serve as a member of that committee. While the committee was initially able to help in some measures in providing some assistance to the aggrieved, it has not functioned with the regularity expected of it. Abdullah साहब ने कमेटी खड़ी की 2001-2002 में. इस कमेटी को was appointed to look into facilitating Kashmiri Hindus. नहीं हुआ. NHRC ने इनको बोला ठीक है, आप कहते हैं हम थे नहीं उस रात हम थे नहीं, मगर जब बाद में आप आए and when you had to give justice, you set up a committee, you did not even take it seriously. You had no intention to take it seriously.
We always wanted that, and even our government led by Umar Abdullah tried its best to bring back Pandits to valley. In 2010-2011, we received 3,000 applications from our Pandits brothers and sisters. So we tried our best to bring them back to the valley, and we gave them a conducive atmosphere for working in Kashmir. So now onus lies on the BJP to provide them security.
आप पीछे से आग लगाएं. You question Kashmir files. You call it a hoax. You attack the government for taking out terrorists who you call sons of the soil, but you want to put all the blame on someone else. Look, all of you chaps. I think Javed Beigh is right. Javed Beigh is right. Javed Beigh ने आप लोगों को expose बेनकाब कर दिया जावेद साहब ने. और मैं ये कह रहा हूँ, I'm just ending this, viewers. This has been a heated conversation around the situation, viewers. And I want to bring this debate to a close by just saying one thing. I just hope there are more Javed Beighs in the valley over the next 2 years. Then there are people who have become the apologists for terrorists and Islamist jihad. Viewers, we need Javed Beighs. We don't need the others. Let me tell you this. I leave it at that.